States government. This is not a test. A nuclear attack was commenced against the United States. 15 nuclear bombs have detonated in several areas across the country. They include Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, New York, Pennsylvania, Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle.
Howdy. We are live now. So, today, I figured it's been a while since I've done anything here, but I got the new Wand Company Pip-Boy. Here it is. It's very, very nice. It's very cool. And the only thing that it needs is some weathering. It's very neat, but it's not really, it doesn't look like it's really been in the wasteland. It looks like it's fresh out of the factory, and so we got to fix that. So I'm going to spend a decent portion, probably about an hour, just weathering this guy and making it look like it's been in the wasteland. And that's going to start with some weathering that I'm going to have to do along all these edges. And so that's pretty much what's going on today. And that's all that I'm really going to be doing. Of course, obviously anybody can just watch it, ask any questions that you have about what I'm doing, why I'm doing something a certain way, what I'm using, anything like that. So I just got to find my rubbing buff here. I've got everything that I need to have a good time doing this. I just need my palette. My paint palette, so that I can paint this thing and do it fairly well. I'm going to be using Rub and Buff, although you could just use like regular silver paint. If you wanted to, you can even like take like silver spray paint and just spray it onto a palette like this one, and then just like use a chip brush to kind of like smear it onto the edges, to dry brush it onto the edges, which is, I mean, that's a very valid thing you could do. Silver spray paint's nice and metallic. In any case, I prefer using Rub and Buff for this kind of thing, because I just like the silver effect that it has. It's very easy to dry brush with it. And the problem with silver paint is that the pigmentation on silver paint tends to be not great. It's very not opaque. And so when you start trying to put it down, dry brushing it, it's very difficult to tell if it's actually going on, and it'll catch the light. And when it catches the light, you'll see the metallic flecks that are in there. But if it doesn't catch the light, it just looks like the base color underneath. So in this case, it would just look like green until it hits the edge. And then once it hits the edge, it'd be like, oh, now it's silver. And that's not the effect that we want. The effect that we want is for this thing to look like it is chipped to hell and back. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and move my mouse pad over to here. See if I can't get my mouse over there as well. Okay, there we go. Everything's in the right place now, or for the most part. Now it is all fairly usable. If you really wanted to go cheap with it, you could also just use like a silver Sharpie and just kind of like rub the edges. But it would look, to me, that looks too uniform and it looks fakey. So that's not my preferred method. I don't think I'm going to take this thing apart. I know some people take it apart. I'm not going to, because number one, I am too lazy. But number two is because when you take it apart, this thing wouldn't be coming apart in the wasteland, right? Like if it's on a person, they're not taking it apart ever. It's staying on their arm. And so what we want to do is just have it be on, like it should look like it's been on their person the whole time. So if we leave it as one piece and then we weather it as one piece, like the silver brushing that I'm going to do should only be appearing in places where definitively something could actually touch that. If I took it apart, like there would be no reason for there to be any scratches along like this surface here, right? Because anything that's going to brush there would just brush across the entire surface, maybe like a little bit. But if I were to take this whole thing apart and do all the different edges, that part would never have, like this seam line here would never have any weathering on it. You know, it shouldn't. Whereas these parts up here should. So that's what we're getting at. Overall, though, they did such an awesome job with this thing. This has got to be the coolest Fallout thing ever made. Besides like the video game, this is the coolest goddamn thing ever made for Fallout. It's incredible. I mean, this whole thing just rocks. The fact that it's totally customizable too, like this rocks. This is so cool. This is like a cosplayer's greatest dream. It's my greatest dream. This is my wet dream, my cosplay wet dream. All right, I'm gonna pull up a reference picture now. Boy 3000. Let's do Fallout 3. Fallout 3 images, and then I'm gonna see, can I open this image in a new tab? Yes, I can. Look at that. And it's actually not that beat up, surprisingly. I would say actually there's more of a wash here and some like paint dabbing than there is anything else, which is interesting. It would be very difficult. Like doing a wash on this part where the speaker is, I think is going to be a bad idea. I'm not going to try and do that because I don't want to ruin anything, but otherwise, if you look up a picture of it, there's very, very little like metallic scratching going on it. It's actually mostly fine. And most of the scratches are like just a slightly brighter green color. I gotta say though, they got the color, like I'm looking at them right next to each other on my drawing tablet, and they got that color spot on, man. They got it right. This thing's awesome. So let me, like I said, I'm going to grab my rub and buff. I got to find it here. I think I have it in one of my drawers over here. Take a look. Shit brush. Where's my shit brush? Feels a little shitty. Oh! All right. So like I said, I'm using silver rub and buff. On focus. Rub and buff is very, very good. This is just silver leaf. Basically, it's like silver toothpaste, but it's not for your teeth. That would be bad. Don't do that. And what you're supposed to do, this kind of creates like In the same way that you used gold leaf, this is basically like liquid silver, liquid gold leaf, but silver. So basically all I'm going to do is just take a little tiny, I should probably give this a good shake actually, because it's been a while since I've used it and the oil will separate over time. I don't want it to come out all liquidy and oily because that would be problematic. We don't want that at all. But the final effect, it creates something like this, which you can see it catches the light, which is very cool. And you can see like it's catching the color of my keyboard very effectively right there. Actually, it's not catching the color of my keyboard. It's catching the color of the little Lego Tahoe I got on my desk, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is a work in progress piece for my 1/6 scale courier. It's supposed to be the bumper sword or the blade of the West. Or blade of the East, whatever suits your fancy, you know. So, like I said, I'm just going to take a little tiny itty bitty bit. We don't want much. We don't want much, y'all. We just want a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. And then I've got right here, I call this one of my shit brushes. This is a brush that I haven't taken care of. You can see the bristles are, come on. Will it focus? Focus camera. Yeah. Okay, come on. Nope. Focus. Focus on the brush. It's right in front of you. Not on the Pip-Boy. Not on the palette. Okay, well, it's not going to. But anyways, shit brush here. Basically, the bristles are in very poor condition. So I'm just going to dip it in the rubbing buff that I've put right there. And then if I just, you can see, oh, wow, that's so silver. And I don't want all that. So I'm going to dab a lot of that off. Get rid of most of it, like almost all of it. And then I'm going to just set this over here where it's not in the way. And I'm looking at my reference photos, or just a reference photo for this, and I'm seeing that there's right around this edge here, there's some. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can add that gently. Not really doing very much. I'm just trying to get the silver on there. And make it look all weathered. And it's okay if it's messy, you know, it ain't got to be perfect. It's called weathering for a reason. There's going to be a little bit on this edge here. Fallout actually does something really cool with its paint chipping. If you look at its art style, the weathering that Bethesda uses in the Fallout, at least in 3 and New Vegas, which I guess means Obsidian did this as well. But you will notice that they don't actually really go that hard with the weathering. And a lot of the like silver paint chipping stuff that you see isn't like big. It's not like, look at all this metallic shit. They actually go very light on the weathering, which is interesting. They mostly use like, obviously there's a lot of scratches and you see like paint fading and stuff, but most of the time when you see those metallic splotches, it actually looks like paint chipping rather than just like scratches. And I can appreciate that because it's kind of like the suggestion that this thing that you're looking at wasn't necessarily always in use during the apocalypse. Like it's only, it was basically like, this is a pre-war item. And then the war happened, a nuclear apocalypse destroyed everything. And then you found it. Or somebody found it and started using it. And I actually like that style, that idea, because it makes, it's sort of like a version of visual storytelling that, you know, it's not really in your face at all. And you wouldn't really ever consider it unless you looked at it specifically and you're like, that's interesting. This thing's a lot less beat up than I thought it would be. Like I said, I'm looking at my reference photo, but I want my Pit Boy to be just a little more weathered than maybe what can be seen on screen. I know like this edge would definitely see a lot of contact, so I'm putting a lot of rub and buff on there, and I think you can kind of see what I'm doing here is I'm just going along the edge and highlighting the edge where there would be um, some scratching happening. Where I know that the edge would have seen some action. And the way I'm doing this now, you can see I'm going to do these like wild, really long brush strokes across the entire thing, and that's because now I'm hitting multiple edges. So I can imagine, if something were actually touching this thing often enough, what you would probably find is that when something is brushing against this, it's not just like touching an edge and brushing a little bit of paint off. It's going to be going all over the place. So having these like big long linear brush strokes covering the whole thing, I think is useful. I'm going to grab a little bit more rub and buff because I think, yeah, my brushes run out of it. But like I said, we're just doing a little tiny bit at a time. We don't need tons and tons and tons of like silver on this thing. We just need enough to convey the point, which is that this thing is all scratched and beat up. So I'm just hitting the edges and I'm going over them a bit gently. I know this angle you guys can't see very well, but I promise I'm just touching up these edges, going on them, and like adding some rub and buff where I think it should be. And like I said, I'm adding it in ways where um, that this would be like a direction that it would be getting touched and brushed in. So as I'm moving it, you can actually see like it's working really well. I love rub and buff, but you can see, hopefully, you can see how now that surface is much more scratched up. This entire plate up here is also made of aluminum, and that means if you wanted to, you could actually just take like a knife or something and scrape the paint off. You could literally scrape the paint off and get a similar effect, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to expose the bare metal underneath, and I am concerned about how that might potentially cause issues with the not oxid aluminum. I don't think can oxidize like that, but I don't want anything to like break down over time, so I'm being extra careful with that. As I said, just you know, covering these edges, hitting these edges up. Hopefully, the next time that I do something like this, I will have a better camera setup. It's a nice webcam, but it did not come with a nice tripod, and I don't have much room at my desk. So this is about the best angle that I can give you guys, which I know is not a great one. Not a great one. But I'm just brushing all these edges. Brushing all the edges. We're edging the Pit Boy. You got to edge your Pit Boy. If you're not edging your Pit Boy, are you really even living? If you've not edged with your Pit Boy, what are you doing? That's what I always say. You can quote me on that. a life without edge is a life not worth living. I'm gonna just very so now I've got like fresh, so I'm gonna just be very gentle about what I'm doing. And in this case, I'm actually looking at my reference photo again to find out where the spots are where the chipping is like heaviest, so that I can use the majority of the rub and buff on those spots. So like in my reference photo, that's a pretty brushed up spot. Up here too is one of them. So I'm actually gonna like dab the paintbrush in those spots to get that paint chipping. It's not as heavy on the picture there, but you know, you get the point. It is pretty heavy on this cuff though. So I'm gonna do this cuff, like I said. Um, it will basically just look like it's been brushing up against the stuff, which really this cuff should be especially beat up because this cuff is the one that's going to have seen all of the like scraping. Right? It's a cuff and it's like on your left arm. So you can imagine somebody's been wearing this and if they've been touching anything, like this thing is going to have been sitting all over tables, all over stone, holding guns, doing all sorts of shit. So I want to make sure that I have properly weathered it all the way. That part should be especially metallic and weathered to shit. Blow away some of the loose flecks. And now that is a much more weathered Pip-Boy. And I'm going to do this edge too, because even though this edge is already silver, it can be better. There's really there's a lot of spots looking at this photo reference where I'm like, I feel like there should be more paint chipping there, more scratches, but there's just like it's not showing them. So I think I'm going to go more with my own style that I am going to try and just copy what is seen in game. And that's what I'm going to try and do for mine is just get all these edges, get everything nice and done up the way that I think it ought to look. With regards to where scratches and stuff should show up. But I'm hoping that the light is going to catch or that it will focus. Focus. Jesus Christ, man. Come on. This. I'm focused on this. Why is it focusing over here? Oh my God. This thing is. God, this webcam. Dog. God, it's. Oh, it tried for a second. Is it like obviously I'm working on this and it's not whatever. It's fucking webcam. So like I said, I'm just going to keep going about this and adding weathering in places where I see fit. Where I'm like, there would be a lot of scratches there. That would have seen a lot of use. And just going over those parts. So what something that I try to avoid, you can see that. I try to avoid that because that's like a very uniform looking that was a very uniform looking scratch. So I've just kind of rubbed it away and now there's kind of like a big silver spot there, which isn't great. But the reason I try to avoid that is because it just looks too uniform, and I feel like scratches should be not uniform. Big scratches should stand out as a big individual scratch, because if they don't, then it just kind of looks like it's been too scratched. So now I'm just dabbing the rub and buff on the edge here. I'm at a point where I do kind of got to be careful about how I'm going to go about and doing this. Just rubbing it on the edge. Like I said, edging your Pip-Boy is an important part of a fulfilling life. Because if you're not edging your Pip-Boy, you're not really living. You've got to be edging to be living. That's what they say. It's definitely what I say. And I'm always right with this kind of thing. So I'm just, like I said, adding it as I see fit. And it'll catch on all the edges where it should be. And then eventually, and you know what? Actually, I am going to just dab a bunch of it on this rim down here, because as I'm thinking about it, the way that this is going to be worn, that would be sitting like this. So it actually makes sense that a lot of this would have missing paint, that it would be like an absurd amount of abrasion in that part. Makes sense. Should be very silvery on the bottom. And additionally, rust wouldn't have the opportunity to really get there because it would constantly be being worn away. Now I am just doing some edge highlighting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after this. I know that this is going to need a wash, and I think I might do the wash before I try and do any of the rust effects. And now that there's even really rust on the Pip-Boy itself, right? Like there's not really any rust on it, which is interesting. I don't know if as a design decision that there wouldn't be any rust on it. Certainly interesting. I might need to grab some more rub and buff. A second here, I might have to squeeze out a little bit more because I'm starting to. Seems like it's kind of dried up, but you can see that the effect that it has is very nice. When we look at it from the front again, it looks much more beat up, which is good because your Pip-Boy, assuming that it's been in the wasteland, should be pretty beat up. I think when I'm done putting the silver rub and buff on, I don't plan on doing much of a stream today. Like we're already about halfway done with the stream. Only about an hour today. I might come back maybe tomorrow, do a little bit more. That would be fun. And do a little bit more in terms of getting all that on there. I'm not sure. Maybe the wash. I guess I could do the rush and the wash effect tomorrow. That would be fine. Get it all done. Just be done with it in one weekend. I don't see why not. Got a little bit more on my palette here. You can see it right there. This stuff is oil based. However, it will dry very quickly, which is good. We want it to dry quickly so that it's easy to handle. You can already see, like, my hand's got, I don't know if, well, maybe it's not coming across, but my hand's got a lot of silver metallic shit on it right now. But what I'm concerned about is that as I'm handling it, I'm going to fuck up the nice scratches that I've made, which is not what I want. I want them to look nice. Not nice, but I want them to look like scratches and not smudges and smears. So I probably will just stop after I get all this on there. Ooh, that's nice. There we go. That whole rim should just be like a fucking bright ass silver. This cuff ridge up here should be just like a bright silver. It's kind of hard for me to show you guys with this. I can do it like that. But I am just going over this edge and painting it silver. Because again, it's one of those things where, you know that it would be all scratched and beat to shit right there. So it makes sense, especially if, somebody's taking this on and off and they've got armor on or whatever. And they're like, we know what the courier wears. Or what the sole survivor wore. So it's not hard to imagine that this thing would get pretty beat up, getting taken on and off and whatnot over and over again. I think in that part I've gone a little too much, but that's okay because it's going to be mostly hidden from sight anyways, and this is what people are really going to be looking at. It's what I'm really going to be looking at, and I think that front face looks good, although there could be more around the edge up here. So I think around, oh, there we go. Yeah, all right, there we go. Now it's nice and covered, and I think this edge up top should just have some more right there and then right here. The reason why I'm not doing it on big flat surfaces and I'm only doing it where the geometry is changing is because where the geometry is changing is where it's going to catch up on stuff, right? In the same way that, like, if I'm putting this glass down, it's the first thing that's always going to touch is not going to be the flat surface of the glass. It's almost certainly going to be one of the edges of the glass. And so that's going to catch the brunt of the force. And if there's paint, that's where it's going to chip. Because on this flat surface, I'm not like, I do this and I put it down. This bottom flat surface isn't getting all scratched up. It's the edge where the geometry has changed. And so, or where I should say the topology has changed. I think that's the right way to say that. And so in much the same way, like, this flat surface here isn't going to really have a whole lot of silver weathering on it because that's not where shit's going to catch and touch. Where shit's going to catch and touch is going to be on the two edges next to it. It's going to be along this whole edge here, which is what this, like, screen protector thing is for in the first place, is to protect the screen from a bunch of shit. So all I have to say is that the Pip-Boy 3000, this, like, original one, the Fallout 4 one, and especially the one from the show, I think the one from the show is maybe my least favorite. And I have it. My girlfriend got that for me for my birthday last year, which was so cool. And I do like it. It's neat. The problem with it is just that it's it's very small. I don't know, it just doesn't feel, it doesn't look that interesting. And it's also got the problem of like function over form, right? Whereas this one is like Art Deco all the way, form over function. These buttons, if you're wearing this thing, all of your controls are pretty much on this side. And that sucks because it means you have to reach across every time, right? If it's on your arm, you've got to reach across your arm to touch all this stuff, which means you're almost always covering the screen. But as we all know, it looks incredible. And it's one of the best looking Pip-Boys that's ever been made. So I think that's something that, and also, you know, form over function was just a legitimate design decision choice that was made back then, where the consideration for how something should look was more important than whether or not it was easy to use. And in the case of the Pip-Boy, that sort of commitment to that design philosophy and how this Pip-Boy was designed makes sense. And I really appreciate that they have gone that route in making sure that this followed the same prospect. So thank you to Bethesda for having designed this, because it just looks so cool. And I mean that as like, as in the game model looks so cool. And when you get to use it in game, it looks cool. Whereas in, obviously, it's very impractical to use in person, but it looks awesome. The other thing I really like about this guy is on the bottom here, you can see that there's this piece. This is actually an extension for the cuff. If you've noticed, the cuff is not actually closed all the way. And the reason for that is because this thing is way too small to fit on most people's arms, but it's also can't be too big because then it would never fit on small people's arms. So what they did, this was a problem with the Pip-Boy 3000 Mark V from the show. This one, they've created this because, and I have it up there. I might just pull it down so that I can show you. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull down Steph and see, because I got to pull down this guy so I can reach in and grab this without destroying everything. Ooh, it's dusty. I got to clean it. Everything gets dusty eventually, but so this one, just doing a quick size comparison, you can see how this one is just much larger. And I know it doesn't look much larger on screen, but when you're holding the two of them together right next to each other, this one, the original 3000, is much, much bigger feeling. I hope that it's coming, like, just look at the size of the screen, you know, so much bigger, which is great. Feels more practical. This one, so the problem that this one had, if I just take it off of the aforementioned stand, I can, please, thank you. The problem with this one was that the vast majority of the time, there's nothing you can really do with this clasp, because it's an actual clasp, right? And then you close it, and you take it, and you put the clasp on and close it, and then you're done. This and this need to always be able to reach each other no matter what. And I'm not sure that obviously they weren't even really thinking about it when they were making the show. And with the show, this inner cuff part wasn't there, so it could just fit on the vault suits. They didn't really have to reimagine the way that any of that would work. And it just goes in there like that. And that's the Pip-Boy Mark V that we all love so much. I say that we all love so much, but, not including me. So on this one, instead, if you've seen the game model, there's no practical hatch or clasp. So on this one, they invented a new one, which is right there. And it's a little bit finicky, but it does open. And what they did was actually very clever. To avoid the issue that people had with that first one, they just created about an inch extension that you can actually screw into this side here. And it just, oopsies, it just perfectly closes with that. And the best part is about this one is that there's no finagling with lining it up. If you have the 3000 Mark V, then you've probably experienced it where you've tried to use the you may have tried to close it really easily, and you may have been like, oh, I'm going to just like close this around my arm, but then you realize it doesn't line up. It's not lining up very well. And that's because there's just too much tolerance in the flex. So you're always fussing with trying to get it around your arm and close it. And then you have to deal with the fact that you have this clasp, and then you're worried about pinching. And I'm not saying that the Wand Company messed it up, because they didn't. They did an excellent job with replicating what was from the show, minus the hatch, I'm going to say the shit weathering job that came on it. It's just not good. Like, it's like black acrylic paint. It looks terrible. The Pip-Boy obviously itself is very cool, but the design of that Pip-Boy, it wasn't designed for practical use. It was designed as an effect, a practical effect. So the way that this is, they've designed this from the ground up to be its own cool, unique thing. And I think that they did an incredible job putting in that practical extension. And the best part is, because of this giant hinge on the back and the way that it's been made, there's no fucking about with how this closes or connects. It just does. It doesn't wiggle. There's no issues. I don't have to line up the clasp. It just clips back into itself. Like, it clips. It's so easy to use. I love this Pip-Boy design. This is, in my opinion, this is the best Pip-Boy. None of the 2000s hold up. Like the one from the original games, I don't care about. The one from Fallout 76, don't care about. The one from Fallout 4, it's just a cheap knockoff of this guy. The one from the show is its own thing that was made for the show. It's whatever. This is like the GOAT of Pip-Boys. And the fact that they made it fully customizable too with everything is just awesome. With the rub and buff, I think I'm done with the rub and buff. I don't want to go too much more crazy with it. I might take some silver paint tomorrow and touch up some of these edges. I might take some alcohol and remove some of these spots, like maybe along here where I think maybe I got a little carried away. I don't know. But I think for the most part, we got all the edges. It looks decent. It's not perfect. What I think I might do is actually take like a paintbrush, like a nice brush tomorrow, and I might actually just start delicately painting actual paint chips, and that will help to make it look a bit better instead of just chaotic scratches. There'll also be spots where it looks like the paint just came clean off, which will be good. So I guess for now, we just appreciate how good this Pip-Boy looks, and I'm not really sure what the future of the podcast holds. So I know me and Mysterious Stranger were doing it for the show. While the show was coming out, we were discussing it, and that was fun. And I kept saying we're going to keep doing this. Excuse me, but then our schedule stopped aligning, and I was getting busy with other stuff. And then, as a creature of habit as I am, once I got out of the habit of doing it, I got out of the habit of like even thinking about it. And so I just we haven't done it in months. Additionally, I think his schedule keeps changing, and he doesn't know when he'll be able to do it again. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it again, and problematically, nothing is ever happening with Fallout. Um, and I have so many hobbies that I could talk about, but the problem is that most of the people that I know who would be interested in coming on the show are also Fallout people, which is fine, and I love them all very much. They're cool people. But it does introduce the problem of basically just everybody would come on and we would talk about the same exact 5 things, which is that Bethesda hasn't released any new news. McFarlane is either making cool action figures or they're just releasing a bunch of lazy repaints. Or it would be like, look, new DLC for Fallout 76, which I haven't even played Fallout 76 in probably like 6 months, maybe 4 months, ever since Marathon came out, which I want to say was actually in like mid-March. So it's probably been a good maybe 2.5 months since I've even thought about Fallout 76. And that's not to say that Fallout 76 is a bad game, but there's just more things that I'm interested in. Fallout 76 also isn't an RPG. And I like RPGs. I want to play RPGs. I know, like, right now I've been on about a month and a half long, maybe 2 month long bender for Baldur's Gate 3. I got bored of playing Marathon one day and I was just looking through my Steam library and I forgot that my friend had bought me Baldur's Gate 3 while it was in early access. And I had apparently like this deluxe version of the game that came with like a few extra cosmetic items that you can wear. And I was like, oh shit. So I downloaded it and then I found out this is my fucking favorite game. This game rocks. It's everything I've ever wanted from a role-playing game. Obviously, it's like, it's turn-based, but the role-playing that is in that game is top-notch, and it's got everything that you could want out of it. There's romantic subplots. All of the companions have very intricate stories and backstories, and with the exception of Karlach and Will, the other 4, Lae'zel, Gale, Astarion, and Shadowheart, are all have really well fleshed out backstories and like they feel like real people with all the different lines and reactivity that they have. That's the other thing. Baldur's Gate 3 has so much reactivity. It is a silly world. I mean, obviously it's in the Forgotten Realms, which is just like the D&D world. And that world in of itself is very silly and also kind of horrific and very unjust. But that's kind of the point, is that like it is it's just mortal people trying to make it in a world where, in an unjust and corrupt world that is ruled over by, gods that could not possibly even begin to understand mortal problems and just kind of are always causing issues. And Baldur's Gate 3 did a really good job of actually like it kind of tricks you because it makes you think in the first place that the game is about dealing with the absolute, but in reality, the game is about resolving all the trauma that the other companions have, all of their problems. Like they're really the focus of the game, which was a very nice touch. That the game is more about them, and the Absolute is more of a backdrop to explore their problems. So, and the origin characters are also like, which are like the 7. There's 7 origin characters, 6 if you're not including the fully customizable Dark Urge, which is like the intended. I think the Dark Urge is supposed to be like the canon character. Um, that the canon player character, but I don't think there's going to be a Baldur's Gate 4. At least not for a very, very long time. So I don't really think it matters. You can role play to your heart's content on that without having to make consideration. And even if there is a canon ending to it, it's like who fucking cares? Play the game however you want. That's why the developers did it a certain way. But anyways, I digress. Baldur's Gate 3 has become my new favorite game. I would say of all, like, if I have a top 3 list, it's Fallout New Vegas, obviously, Baldur's Gate 3, and Elden Ring. And it's actually crazy to me I'm a person who never plays new games. It's insane to me that 2 of the games that are on my top 3 like favorite games I've ever played ever are made in the last 5 years. So, or were released in the last 5 years. For me, that's very unusual. Um, and Fallout New Vegas, I guess, in that sense, kind of stands out as the outlier, which is weird. But you'll notice all 3 of those are excellent RPGs. Obviously, Elden Ring leans a little bit more into the action side of things than the role-playing side of things, but Elden Ring still has really good role-playing potential. Or it does have really good role-playing potential. It's just that you as the character have to, or you as the player have to be more imaginative with it, which is also true of Baldur's Gate 3 endings. The game doesn't have like a slideshow that tells you about it, and you get to see all the characters 6 months later in like an epilogue party scene, which is fun. But you can kind of just get to imagine where they all go after that based on the endings that you get for them, and they tell you about what they've been up to. And I don't know, Baldur's Gate 3 is just such a fantastic game. It's just really good. So that's what I've been playing a lot of. I've also been working on a big drawing for Baldur's Gate 3, and I already have like 2 or 3 other drawings planned. I just have to actually sit down and do them, and I don't want to start doing them until after I finish this piece. So that's like a whole big deal. The long and the short of it is, I don't know how often I'm actually going to be doing the podcast, or if all. Again, there's not even a name for it. So I don't know when or if it'll even be continued. I don't know. I want to, because it's really fun, and I'm paying for StreamYard. I've been paying for it, which is maybe not the smartest financial decision, but I have been, so I may as well make use of it. And I've learned how to use the browser software fairly well enough. But in all seriousness, I think if I could get more people to come on here, like a revolving door of guests, other creators in the Fallout space to come on and just shoot the shit about what's been going on, just in the gaming world in general, or not even game, just like in the geeky, nerdy subculture of the internet that we have, and just being able to talk about, like, these are our favorite games, here's what's going on. I know, for like, personally for me, I would love to talk about the McFarlane action figures that are coming out to date this video whenever this live stream releases. Obviously this just came out, but also McFarlane just announced they're making Joshua fucking Graham in action figure form, which is awesome. That's like a holy grail type of character. Like, oh my God, they're making Joshua Graham. So I'm super, super excited to get Joshua. I hope that means that they're going to do more DLC characters. I would love to see the Desert Ranger, I want to see the Elite Riot gear. I want to see. I think they said something about. I think I saw like a leak that they're making the Shark Paint Sierra Madre armor, right? Or the Shark Paint T45 armor. That means that now they have T45D power armor from. Obviously, it's a Fallout 476 model, but that's okay because you just update it. And I imagine in universe, like I don't want Fallout 3 power armor and like New Vegas power armor to be different than the Fallout 4 and 76 power armor. I want them to all look standard on the shelf together. Jeez. Some shit going on outside. But if they do the Scorched Sierra power armor that is from Lonesome Road, God, that would be awesome. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the like what are they called? Like UPNs or whatever. Like there was a UPN leak that was like just like, oh, here's all these numbers and here's what they're all called. That's what they're all going to be for. That would be really neat. So I'm very excited for all the stuff that McFarlane is doing. I'm super excited to see all of it. I want to see more of it. And you know, you bet your ass that I'm going to be getting those. One of the customs that I've been working on has been a courier, and I have gotten the body all set up, ready to receive custom parts. And somewhere around here, I have the big bin of custom parts. I just have to find all of them. Oh, they're up here. Whoop. But you can see. Well, maybe you can't really see. Well, yeah, you can see. I have the parts made. I've painted them. I just have to assemble everything. And once it's all assembled, I'll have a courier. I'll paint it up very nicely. And to have that go with Joshua Graham and the Scorched Sierra power armor, are you kidding me? If anybody from McFarlane Toys or just anybody who makes decisions in the Fallout gaming sphere as it pertains to a multimedia project, whatever the case is, I need you to make the companions from Fallout New Vegas. You have to make all of them. I want Boone. I want Arcade. I want Cass. I want Veronica. Okay. I want Eddie. I want Tabitha. Not Tabitha. Lily. Sorry, Lily fans. I want Rex, Eddie. I want those guys. I want the ones from the DLCs. I want Waking Cloud. I want Follows Chalk. I want the brains. I want the goddamn brains from Old World Blues. I want the Cyber Dog gun. I want all of them. I want I want Ulysses. I want both versions of Eddie, the one from Lonesome Road and the version from the base game. I know there's other companions that I'm forgetting, but you get my point. Oh god, Raul. I want Raul. Give us Raul. Give us two versions of Raul. Give us his Petro Chico look and give us his gunslinger look. Give us all the looks, man. And with Boone, give us all three of his looks. Give us the basic Boone that you get, and then give us the versions that he gets from when he completes his companion quests, depending on the choices that you made for with him. Give us those versions as well. I want all of them. I want all of them. Every single last one of them. Give us Ringo. Give us Sunny Smiles, Trudy. Give us Chet. Give us Cliff Briscoe. Give us all the different Rangers. I want this to be a full-fledged toilet. Like that's what I want. I want to have like a shelf bigger than my Star Wars shelf, bigger than my Transformers Masterpiece shelf. I want every Fallout character that I can get my hands on. I want them all. I want all of them. And I know I've mostly just mentioned characters from New Vegas, but like, you know, that's my game. That's the one that I love. But all of them, just keep pumping them out. We want them. We'll pay for them. All right. We've hit 1 hour. Before I get off and I call this stream over, Uh-oh. I should have grabbed it by the base of the stand. There we go. To move it. I want to just say one more thing. This is not a paid promotion, nor I don't know why they would, but I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not affiliated with these guys in any way. But, a very important but, I do want to show this off because I do think that if you are into Fallout props, which if you're watching this, obviously you are, if you are into Fallout props, goddamn, do I have a service for you called Handmade Fallout. You can find them on Ko-fi or Ko-fi. I know it's pronounced coffee, but I always read it as Ko-fi. It's Kofi, Handmade Fallout, and for about $35 or $40 a month, that's USD. At least domestically, it's more expensive if you're international because of international shipping. Every month, he does a giveaway to his members. So not only as a member do you get just a discount on everything in his shop, which is mostly like 3D printed items, like DIY kits, you get a care package. So if you're a member, you get a care package every month, and you get to vote on what this care package is going to be. Usually it's between two things. In the last 4 months, these care packages have included energy weapons, as in energy ammo and energy grenades, like plasma grenades, microfusion cells. Additionally, there's also been, I got like a big box of like mini magazines. I have the big box. I have them all here. I will show them. It came with this little note from Fallout 4, or maybe it was, maybe this came from Fallout 76. But these mini magazines rock, dude. And I mean, they're basically all just like little notepad journals, which is cute. You know, I think it's the same thing here. Yeah, war never changes, whatnot. But like, look at this. They're the magazines from the game, just at half scale. The choice for this specific month, which I believe was the month of April, was a choice between. It was a choice between all of these, or you could get half of them, but they would have been full scale. So I know I'm just pulling them all out, but like they just look great. They look great. They look exactly like the game. And there's like I'm telling you, dude. Look at all of these, dude. Look at all of them. There's so many. There's like multiple Grognecks in here. All the astoundingly awesome tails things. There's just, oh, there's another Grognek. So this would look so good as a collage. And it was like $35 or whatever. And I think also every month he sends out these pieces. And I think, if I understand correctly, if you just keep saving these are pieces to slowly build up a 3D printed prop. So like in the most recent one, I'm pretty sure this is like a Ripper piece. This is like a Ripper blade from like Fallout 3 / New Vegas. And I think that this is for those pieces as well, but I'm not sure. But anyways, point is, all of this stuff to do whatever you wanted with was all $35. And maybe there was a little bit of tax, but you don't pay shipping because the shipping is included in the thing. This is just a care package that you just get. And all of these covers are, obviously he didn't, design these covers. This is art from the game. But the point is, you have access to this, and I can make an incredible collage. Like, can you imagine a coffee table? Like, you could build a coffee table, just buy like a regular ass coffee table, and then just get a big slab of glass, lay all of these out, put the glass on top of it with like maybe a little like a couple little rubber stopper nodes like adhered to the bottom of it, and then just set them on top of all of these, and you have a coffee table. Are you kidding me? For a band cave or like a gaming little setup, this would be awesome. And like I said, there's so like, look at this. That's so many. I got a big box of them. They're cool. And obviously, like, you know, they're all just little notepads. So these also have practical value. Not to say that they, you know, that's what their purpose is to be practical. That would be a farce. But you get my point. And like I said, every month you get a small bit of 3D printed pieces that go towards making like a larger prop. I'm going to grab the other two props now that I have received that are also DIY kits, which I have just back there. They're actually in these boxes. So this one came this month. I actually grabbed this yesterday. This is what the Ripper blade came with, which I'm actually very excited about this, because if that's the case, that means there's a Ripper on the way. And a Fallout 3 Ripper would be awesome, because that's one of the coolest ones. It came with all these bottle caps. And it is a model kit for the Thirst Zapper. Okay? I'm serious. The whole damn thing. All the little greeblies and everything are in there. The handle. The little back bit. And like I said, this little piece for the Ripper. All of it. All of it was included. So you can build the whole damn thing. And they're in really good shape. There's like, this doesn't need that much sanding to get it good. Like the layer lines on here are barely there. And I almost wonder if he pre-sanded some of this stuff. He actually might have. And there's no scarring either on this. Like there's no scarring anywhere from where it was printed. I genuinely can't tell what direction this came out of the thing from. So, oh, I see where the scarring is. You can barely see the scarring on the back here. This guy's a fucking pro. My point is, that's a Thirst Zapper. That's such a cool prop from Fallout to have. That's such like that's such a Fallout specific prop. So, and now for the month of June, it's already been voted on. It's the Alien Blaster from Fallout 3 in New Vegas. So if that wasn't if you don't like the Thirst Zapper, but the Alien Blaster is iconic. Not even just in Fallout 3, in Fallout New Vegas, it's like the Wild Wasteland thing. It's like what 90% of people take Wild Wasteland for. Most of the people who take Wild Wasteland take it to go get the Alien Blaster. That's awesome. So you get all this cool stuff. Like I said, like all these bottle caps. There's like, God, there must be, I mean, I think there's 9 bottle caps in here. And there's probably more. I mean, there's definitely more than 10. I think there might be like 18 bottle caps. That rocks. For $35, dude. You can't beat that. I think I paid 35. If you join now, I think it's 40. Because he had to bump the price up, but he honors the membership I cost for like previous members. Anyways, the point is, that's incredible value. I couldn't believe it. I'm going to grab the energy weapons now. I say energy weapons. Energy weapons is not the correct term. But when you open this box up, when I open it up and I look inside, there's so much stuff in here. Oh my God, it's such a big box of stuff. But immediately you can tell. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come here. There's these big ass print offs of how everything goes together. Right? This big print, which is cool. Oh, there's so much stuff in that box. There is this foldable cardboard box of Yum Yum deviled eggs. And this foldable box of Blamco mac and cheese. Do you know how cool this is, man? This is awesome. These are like this. This is Fallout props. This is so cool to have access to. And it's so easy to fold. You could just you could tape this together. I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to, some on the fly origami because it's so easy. I don't even have to stop and really try. And when you're done, you can just put that on a shelf somewhere and it's Blamco mac and cheese from Fallout. How cool is that? And that's not even like the thing, the big thing. Good Lord. Look at all these for making all the stuff from Fallout, dude. Look at this. There's so many different parts in here. I don't even want to open it up because I know they're all going to fall out. I can see multiple energy cells. I can see multiple plasma grenades. I see that there's multiple parts to make the frag grenade. Like I said, there's so much in here. This is genuinely one of the coolest things I've ever received for such a low price. And they don't even really need that much sanding. I think you could probably just pull this out of the bag as is and just paint them. That's how good they are. That's the type of quality I'm talking about. My point is, do not sleep on something like Handmade Fallout. Get it. Just get it. It's so good. I can't wait to finish all these things. And I have, as you can see back here, I have a fucking enormous backlog of projects that are just sitting there waiting to get done. I have a helmet that's like a year and a half, 2 years old from Ashen Warrior Props that I still have to make, that I have to work on finishing. And I have another three. This is turning into Fallout show and tell. Right now, my girlfriend's on vacation. She's supposed to be coming home today. She was in Canada. Well, not really vacation. She's in Canada to see some family, so she's going to be back this night. I'm hoping she's not back in the next hour, because if she comes back in the next hour, now I've moved so much stuff around, she's going to be like, "What the fuck did you do?" Since we're on the topic of really cool 3D printed stuff for Fallout, and he also sent this Mechanist poster with the Thirst Zapper, which is just cool. I got a model kit from the Lucas files of the Ranger helmet, and I slightly modified it into a Riot Gear helmet It's not going to be a perfect Riot Gear helmet, obviously, but I just really love the shape of the eyes, the visor. So I've got that to make a Riot Gear helmet. I have all the parts there in this box. They're all inside of this helmet, which I have to finish still, but you can see them. They're all in there. So that's a project that I've been working on. And once I'm done with that project, I've got another project. My girlfriend got this for my birthday this year. Is an advanced Riot Gear helmet, not the Elite, but the advanced. So this is the one that has the 2 filters without the hoses. And this is its bucket. This is from the Galactic Armory take on the helmet, which after looking at these pieces, God, I can never remember the guy's name now. But he's the West Virginia guy who did like all the Enclave armor stuff 3D printed, who I like. If you were on Fallout Instagram, you saw his cosplays all the time because they were just so good. But that guy, he made that helmet, that design for it specifically, which I love. And it's so easy to put together. I'm not trying to diss on the Galactic Armory guys, but why are there no keys for anything? Like, none of this stuff keys in anywhere. It all just kind of loosely rests somewhere, which is annoying because it means that it's very, very difficult to get it lined up exactly where it needs to be. And then it's like, well, when you want to glue it together, you have to be very careful that you're actually putting it exactly where it ought to go, which sucks because like these parts don't even fully line up. I'm not even looking into the mic while I'm saying this, so hopefully you can catch my frustration with this, but the parts don't fully line up with each other exactly. So you got to figure out where it goes. If there was just a key here, like a key element built into it, this wouldn't be a problem. It would just fit perfectly. Which is what I think his name is Luke. If his name isn't Luke, I apologize. He did an incredible job, and he has so many designs. Like, I know he recently did the advanced power armor helmet, which I want to get that as well. He did such a good job on designing that. I can't believe that these Galactic Armory guys think that that was acceptable, because almost nothing on that helmet keys in any way. There are very few keys. That helmet has so many keys that, like, you can drill magnet spots into. I'm actually more surprised that, not to say that he needed to, but I'm actually surprised that he didn't just build like model in spots for magnets, like these types of round magnets, that he couldn't just like find a place, put those in, because I have to drill them out now and put them in there myself, which is fine. But given how much attention to detail he put in that with how it should be assembled, I'm surprised that wasn't there. So, and that's not a dig. Like I said, that's not a dig on it. It's an incredible design and it works really well. But anyways, those are all the little projects that I have for Fallout right now. And like I said, I 100% am just telling you right now, go to Handmade Fallout Coffee, sign up. It's $40 a month. Okay. Look, I'm telling you, get rid of that dog shit Netflix and Hulu. Okay, you ain't watching that shit. I know you're not watching that shit. Who the fuck get rid of what are you watching on Disney Plus? Really? You don't need that shit. Sign up for Handmade Fallout and get actual Fallout props. Get yourself a goddamn fucking thirst zapper. Get an alien blaster. Get the fucking energy ammo and grenades and shit. What are you doing? You don't need Hulu. You need Fallout props. And if you say subscribe for long enough, I think it's over the course of 12 months, or it could be 6 months. It might be over the course of 6 months. I can't remember, but either way, you eventually collect enough pieces to put together um, an actual item. Like it's almost like it's almost like a build a figure from like Marvel Legends, if you know what that is, where you slowly collect the pieces over time from different waves, or like every wave will have a build a figure where each character that comes out is packaged with like a different part of a much larger character. And if you collect the whole wave, you get all the parts and you can put the really big figure together. And then they're just like huge. This is the same thing. You collect these pieces over time and then you put them together, and it's very cool. So um I'm looking forward to that. And the McFarlane figures, so much more stuff. And I have this, and I have these two helmets to do. I have a backlog that could last me potentially more than a year of like just prop work right now. And it's not even the hard part. It's just painting. It's just sanding and painting and some assembly, but who doesn't love some assembly required? Um, I'm so excited. This wasn't a very good stream. I see now that like this camera angle here was not very good. If I could put the camera somewhere else, I would. I apologize that the tripod that I have just really sucks ass. It's so tiny. This was the best that I could do. I hope I was able to give you guys a good look at what I was doing as I was like, painting this guy. If not, I apologize. Again, I'm very sorry. But if you have made it this far, if you've just been listening to me ramble and rant about Fallout props, I really appreciate it. I'm not sure when I'm going to go live again. I would like to tomorrow to keep working on this, and maybe we can finish it tomorrow. Um, Either way, I appreciate you hanging out. If you haven't made it to this part, you're not going to hear this anyways, but I appreciate you for stopping by. Leave a comment or something like that. Just, say hi. And if there's something specific that you want to see me paint or make or do, because I love making props, especially from Fallout, let me know, and I can talk about it. Or if you want to see more of, you know, Mysterious Stranger, or just like anybody in the Fallout creator world, let me know, because I have more of a through line with some people now than I used to, and they're fun. They're great people to talk to. So just let me know. Give me a shout. Let me know if there's somebody that you want to, and I'll see if I can, start something with them, and we can talk about just whatever, shoot the shit about Fallout or whatever they've been up to, and in terms of like, their pseudo professional hobby content creation, creator habits. So that's all that. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great weekend. Today is Saturday. It's been hot as shit all week, and it's finally just barely starting to cool off. So enjoy. If you're having nice weather, enjoy it. I know the FIFA World Cup is also going on. So if that's something that you're enjoying, I'm very happy for you. You guys take care. Everyone be safe. See you guys hopefully tomorrow. Adios.